It's rare that a sports official is assaulted, but these incidents are increasing at an alarming rate. The way people treat sports officials today, it's terrible.
There's this mentality of like, people can just yell at referees and it's okay.
And every person that I asked, they'd been spit, they'd been kicked, they had a rock thrown at them, or verbally abused or threatened.
A parent followed me to my car just yelling and screaming at me. And it really occurred to me that this is not the way the game is supposed to be.
On a winter night in 1996, veteran wrestling official Bob West stepped onto a mat expecting to do what he'd done countless times before, officiate a match.
I had to stop the match a couple times. I penalized a point, once for gouging of eyes and a headbutt, and penalized a point there. The wrestler from Colville, Chad Hildebrandt, got pinned and jumped up and threw his shoulder against his opponent from West Valley, Josh Kelp. And I stepped in between and said, that's enough. That just cost you a team point.
And the few critical seconds that followed would change his life for the next 30 years.
And when I turned to the coach to award the unsportsmanlike conduct, he headbutted me in the left temple, and then it was lights out.
That match lasted only a few minutes, but its consequences will be felt throughout his lifetime.
I had quit breathing for about 10 seconds and was unconscious for about 5 minutes. I remember them lifting me up on the mat. It was chaotic. We didn't finish the match.
One match, 2 penalties, were all it took for West to fall victim to an assault that would permanently change the course of his life and end his officiating career permanently.
I've had fractured rib. When I went down pretty hard and straight back. I've had 4 neck surgeries as a result of that. It ended my sports officiating career.
The infamous incident generated national headlines and became an archival staple on networks that featured stories highlighting sportsmanship. Seeking reparations, West pressed charges against the Colville School District and a student, Chad Hildebrandt, who was then charged with 4th-degree assault, which in common law applies to physical altercations that do not result in severe or life-threatening injuries. West always thought the punishment should have been higher.
It should have been a felony.
For decades, he sought out a way to turn his pain into purpose. His book, Rage on the Field, documents the surgeries, the legal battles, and the years spent trying to prevent someone else from experiencing the same thing. Something that unfortunately isn't an isolated case among school sporting events.
I called offensive foul, player going the other way, end of the game.
As West's recovery unfolded, others were seeing the same trends.
One of the officials was followed by somebody in a car, like super close, flashing their lights at him for like 5 miles. He went home and he quit.
Senator John Lovick, who used to be a high school basketball referee, recounts his own experience.
A parent followed me to my car just yelling and screaming at me. His son actually told him, "Dad, you don't need to yell like this. This is just a game." And then I've heard other things that happened. I think a 14-year-old kid was attacked by a player in the Kraken's complex at Northgate. It should not be happening in high school, junior high school sports. It just should not happen.
The way people treat sports officials today, it's terrible. Parents, a sports official, you're getting in the way of my child's scholarship.
A lot of these kids, they just want to play the game. And they're embarrassed that their parents over there jacking their jaws.
The parents all think it's the Olympics.
My kid needs to play, how come he's not playing?
Every parent, every coach, they all think they know the rules, but they don't spend the hours and hours that we put into these officials to teach them the rules. You don't see the hundreds and hundreds of hours that they go and study the rules so that when they go on the court, they're making the best calls possible.
All participants have a role to play, and one of them is not to beat up the referee.
Perhaps a sign of a broader cultural shift when it comes to school sportsmanship.
I think it has gotten worse, yes. I feel like it's now once or twice a year I'm hearing about an actual assault. Over 50% of the officials have reported some sort of like threat or abuse where they felt like fearful to officiate. That's not good. The National Association of Sports officials around the nation, they've done surveys and it shows that 70% of officials quit within 2 years.
And when they quit, replacing them isn't easy.
I've talked to people, hey, do you want to become an official? The most common complaint is, I don't want to get yelled at.
You know, you think about that situation where you have somebody who's like a 25-year plus official that you've invested all this training, and you can imagine like if you had an employee for 25 years and they just quit, that knowledge base that they take away, you can't just replace that overnight. All that effort and training that you put into them, and then they just leave and you're like, oh, I gotta start all over again. It's gonna take them many years to get to the knowledge level that that person was at.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Chairman and distinguished members of the committee.
For 30 years, West pushed for stronger protections for sports officials, advocating for new legislation at the state capitol.
That kid that headbutted me, if that would have been his first offense, the most that he could have got under state law as a juvenile was 1 day in juvenile, and that was it. There had to be a deterrent, something that puts some bite or provides a law. If you step across that line, you're going to be held accountable.
And in those 3 decades, the bill changed, the language changed, the politics changed, but the effort continued.
There has been different iterations of a bill that we've introduced over those 30 years. Initially, it was as a felony. And over time, because of politics, it's gotten watered down.
Engrossed Senate Bill 5272, clerk will read.
Finally, in 2026, a break in the cycle.
Engrossed Senate Bill 5272, as amended by the House, is declared passed.
I was looking into running the legislation. In every case, in every person that I asked, they had. They had either had, they'd been spit, they'd been kicked, they had a rock thrown at them, or verbally abused or threatened. The teachers, superintendents, the principals, they'll tell you that they really don't have the ability to discipline or manage situations like this. We keep legislating those rights away from the schools. So that's why I really feel like because we're doing that, we really need to step in a different way.
With the help of Representative Suzanne Schmidt in the State House and Senator John Lovick in the Senate came the passage of Senate Bill 5272, a new law that expands penalties for threats or violence tied to schools to extracurricular activities like sports.
This legislation is so important because it also, again, gives the school officials the opportunity to call the police, have the county prosecutor involved, and actually have people charged for these incidents and assaults.
Under the bill, using force or threatening it against students, staff, contractors, or even coaches and officials is a gross misdemeanor, punishable by up to 6 months in jail, a fine of up to $500, or both.
I don't want anybody to spend 6 months in jail. I don't want anyone to be banned. If you're at a sporting event, you should not only be safe, you should feel safe. And you shouldn't be yelled at, screamed at, intimidated by fans.
For students, that behavior can trigger immediate removal from school and exclusion from activities.
Those penalties are meant to send a message that we are serious about this. Tougher penalties would make a person be more respectful. Just go and enjoy the game and realize that the game is for the youngsters out there. It's for you to enjoy, but for the youngsters to have fun playing. Set a good example.
For non-students, a conviction comes with a mandatory ban, barred from the school or event for at least 12 months, up to 18 months.
We probably need education, legislation, and enforcement. If a person violates the policies, then there would be enforcement. So I believe it is going to work.
Sports officials see it as a long-awaited victory for a match that took decades to call.
Engross Senate Bill 5272 on third reading and final passage. Remarks, Senator Lovick.
And I was watching the live stream on TBW.
Having received a constitutional majority, Engross Senate Bill 5272 is declared passed.
When it finally passed the Senate, that's when I was really excited this year, because it passed the Senate first, and I was like, that's never happened. So of course, you know, I called Bob right away.
I think about the incident and it's changed my life that much. And the silver lining was the legislation that we just passed.
And for West, a sign that things were moving in the right direction.
The governor was standing there and got to stand next to him. And he said, I understand you've been working on this a long time. And I said, yeah, about 30 years. And he said, no way. He said, I think that you probably have the record of legislation that's taken that long.
I've been involved in the last 4 years, but he's just, you know, it's just something that he's really poured his heart and soul into.
Gentlemen, we're going 70 innings of play, 2-hour time limit, no new after 2.
With the passage of the bill, school officials are hopeful it will move the needle on changing the culture around sportsmanship.
Now we're actually getting some momentum. People are paying attention to it now, I think, a little bit more. We have the rule now. Now we have to find the application.
To Bob West, the fight isn't over, not until the law covers sporting events outside of schools.
The plan is to go back to the drawing board again and pick up where we left off with this legislation.
West plans on working on new legislation to expand the law and possibly tighten penalties in the future, something that Representative Schmidt supports.
I don't think the penalty went far enough. I think people really need to, you know, again, if you want to deter someone's behavior, I think that you need to make that choice, that risk, more costly to them. To make it a Class C felony would really, I believe, would become more of a deterrent for people.
But for now, the new law provides a sense of reprieve.
There's always the right time to do the right thing, and I think this was the right time for this legislation.
And perhaps a shift towards better sportsmanship 30 years in the making.
I am 100% behind it. It's going to help with recruiting younger kids to know that they've got backing and support.
We've got really a bunch of great referees in the state of Washington. You have to remember, without officials, you don't have sports.
We don't want to see people break the rules, but we're there to apply them if they do. I think it's going to be a long road still.